Hello, beautiful soul family. Rebecca here, your vibe mentor. Welcome to Monday Magic, the intuitive energy reading, where I take a moment to tap in and get a sense of where we have been, what we're experiencing now, and how we can best navigate what is being presented to us. It has been an interesting few weeks, and I'm finally happy to say that this week I have a bit of a different sense of energy. I would say for the last 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, it took us to get through some of that really dense, thick, heavy, difficult energy. And it was a challenge for many. It's amazing how the patterns emerge in clients. And when I speak to people, that we are all in this together, we are rarely ever alone in any of this. And so that is one of the benefits of the Monday Magic intuitive energy reading. So thank goodness we are no longer in the squeeze or in the fog. We did start last week that way. And then about midweek, things started to lighten. I got a sense of it's not quite so heavy. It's not quite so difficult to transmute. It doesn't require quite so much effort to keep the vibrations high. And at one point, I've had quite a few analogies that have come through on this one, but the energy felt, one person used the term sandpapery. I felt it felt like a pressure cooker, or the process of being pressed into a diamond. Another analogy was the sharpening of a knife, that that the heat and the pressure and the grinding away of your material that leads us to being sharper and more effective. And then the final analogy that came through last week was sort of the squeezing of or twisting of a sponge, right? The wringing out of every last ounce of the things that are no longer needed as we take the first steps into this new world, which seems to be happening in this exact moment now. Happy Cancer new moon right now, exactly as I film this. So it is a beautiful energy. I really did anticipate quite a bit more intensity, especially with a daughter with 4 planets in Cancer and a Cancer moon myself. But it has not been so difficult from an emotional perspective. I would say where the emotionality has come in is through all of the shifts and changes, the surprises, the things that we did not expect. And I do believe, and I, don't quote me on it because I didn't look up all of the different aspects here, but I know Pluto is involved. I believe Uranus is involved. So there's quite a bit going on, and quite a few reasons for us to be experiencing shifts and changes. We also have the nodes changing signs tomorrow, I believe. Depending on where you are in the world, it may be today for you. But that has brought sort of this sense of sort of like a soft eclipse season. And it's because of the shifts and changes that are sort of being dropped into our laps. It is very fascinating how the support that has come through to help shift us out of that old, dense, heavy energy, for me, has been very surprising. It's the last thing I expected. It's the opposite of what I was asking for. And yet, of course, as always, it's exactly what I needed. And it has done an excellent job at shifting things for the better, making things more sustainable, providing more financial support, more of a foundation, more of a sense of security and safety, a better home environment, a better family environment, just everything all around. And it has been interesting because, like I said, it's kind of the opposite of what I was asking for. There have been so many synchronicities that have proven that this is 1,000% the right path, the right thing to do. Synchronicities abound, and they are pointing us towards the direction that we should not, I don't even want to say should be going, but the direction that is best for our evolution and our process. Plenty of numbers, lots of 777, 222, 888, 555. Those have been kind of my numbers. I'm sure your numbers are specific to you. I also have a personal number of 883 or 833 or 338 or 8378, or, just sort of the combination of threes and eights and sevens. So really look for what numbers are there for you, because the universe is constantly speaking to you in so many different ways. I also had the analogy of sifting for gold come through over the last couple of weeks, and it feels like the last of the sand is leaving the gold sifting tray, that we're seeing the gold emerge now in this moment. And that clarity started to arrive around Friday. There was a lightening of the energy in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the end of the day, Thursday into Friday. It's as if the light bulbs have finally gone off. I did have a strong sense of it was more difficult to connect to source. It was more difficult to hear. I felt more separation than I typically do, which in the moment felt like, what am I doing wrong? But now, as we're on the other side of it, I can see that there was a veil that was necessary. There was a thickening or a reduction in connection that was necessary for that pruning, for that squeeze, for the sifting, to help us really reevaluate what's most important, what's going to come along, and what gets left behind. And so this clarity seems to be still trickling in, that every day it evolves just a little bit more. And we're like trying things on for size. I get the visual of, being in a changing room and trying on these outfits and piecing all of these different pieces together. I like this headband and I like that sweater, but I don't like that shoe. And maybe I'll try a different pair of pants, and just really piecing things together in the clarity that is trickling in right now. And it has felt as if the tables of life, of fate, have shifted, right? They've been kind of tipped over or dumped us into this new place. And it is always happening in our favor. Life is always happening for us and not to us. And so even though it may be surprising, it may be different than we expected, it may seem like the opposite of what we're asking for, likely down the road, it will eventually lead to the very thing we were trying to manifest. It feels very similar to the anticipation that I've been sensing for many, many months now of something is coming, something is coming, something is coming. It feels like I have the vision of an eyedropper, right? Dropping in the trickles of clarity, the trickles of advancement or acceleration. It's the slow arrival of the thing that we have been anticipating. There is potential for that to be unnerving, especially if it's different than you anticipated. It's different than what you thought you were asking for, even though likely it's eventually going to lead to what you were asking for. It looks different. It has arrived in different packaging, and it's not something that we have felt in control of. And so the uncertainty around it has the potential to create a nervous feeling. But again, I want to remind you, in all of these energy readings, there is a potential to experience something in the positive, and there's a potential to experience something in the negative. And so it is up to us to transmute and to choose how we're going to perceive it, how we're going to receive it, how we're going to integrate and process, and what perspective we choose. We could let the fear and the anxiety get to us, and the guidance was that would take away from the gift that is being offered to us right now. So remember, life is always happening for you and not to you. So the best approach when you're feeling the discomfort or the anxiety or the fear is to approach it with curiosity. I really, really love it's an excellent shift in vibration and perspective to say, I wonder how this could possibly be working in my favor. If life is always happening for me, this means there's a benefit, that this is the best possible outcome, the best possible path for my life. So I wonder, right? Really get curious, because the divine is very creative, and many times the way things are accomplished are ways that we never could have anticipated or come up with on our own. And so that's something to get really excited about and to have fun with, and to say, this is freaking awesome and amazing. I can't wait to see how this is going to serve me. I can't wait to see how this is going to lead to my highest timeline, right? And to really have not just gratitude or appreciation, but awe for the process. Like, how fun. Really? We get to do this? This is amazing, right? And really choose that perspective of how much of a gift it is to experience life in this way. People will say, enjoy the process or enjoy the journey. That's what it's all about, is having not just gratitude and appreciation, but awe for every moment of how cool this life is. because it really isn't about the destination. We all know that, yeah, when we set out to achieve a goal, we think that the accomplishment of that goal is going to be the thing that brings us the happiness, and it never does. And even if you're really good at celebrating that moment, it doesn't last very long, because it really is in the present, in every now moment, that we get to have awe and appreciation and curiosity and excitement for life. And if we choose the perspective of fear and anxiety and worry, we will ruin it. It is very uncomfortable. That, to me, is the definition of hell. So we get to choose to elevate into heaven on earth, or to lower ourselves into torture. The phrase "God's goodness is chasing me down" came through, and I really, really love that feeling of being so magnetic that there must have been an old commercial. I don't even know what this visual is that's coming to mind right now, but it was like dirty laundry or something, like chasing this person down, like trying to attach to it, like something about socks being magnetic, or like Velcro. Whatever this visual is, it's trying to offer an example of how this goodness, this thing that is happening for us, is really chasing us down. It is drawn to us and attracted to us, and so magnetic that we could not possibly peel it off of us. So remember, God's goodness is chasing you down, and this that you're experiencing right now, this is what it looks like. And if you experience it as difficult, that is within your ability to shift out of. The thoughts you choose, the stories you tell yourself, the meanings you make of it are all up to you. So I can choose to believe this is good. This is amazing. We have the potential to build something incredibly beautiful. It's not too late. You get a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth chance. The best is always yet to come. More goodness comes every day in every way. So the recommendation on how to work with this is clearly driven by the potential for nerves, the potential for fear. The recommendation was to really work with the nervous system, which, as you know, I'm a trauma spotting professional and heal trauma daily. And so the nervous system is a key component in that healing process, and working with our physiology and our biology to make all systems drive in the right direction, in one direction, right? The unification of mind, body, and soul means an understanding of your physical being and how to make your nervous system and your body work for you. So some of the tips are obviously just slow down, period. Slow down, be still, and know that I am God. Remove the fear, surrender it, and say, I believe, I know that I'm being cared for. Your goodness is chasing me down. And so in that, I'm going to rest and surrender, faith, and trust. Slowing down is number one. Number two is slow, deep breaths with an exhale that is longer than the inhale. I love breath work. It is awesome and amazing, but I am not a big fan of intense, heavy, or fast breath work for anyone who has experienced trauma or is in a difficult situation with an activated nervous system. And the way you can think about it is, if you were a gazelle running from a lion, how are you going to breathe? Fast and heavy running. We don't want to emulate fast, heavy, or running. We want to emulate rest and digest and healing and growth and repair, reception, feminine, magnetic, allowing and receiving. So slow, deep breaths with an exhale that is longer than the inhale. The third is splashing cold water on your face. Who knew? People would do that if they're having a hard day. They go to the restroom and they splash some cold water on their face. Yes, that actually helps to regulate the nervous system. Yoga is always great. Again, it's that slowing down. It's the mindfulness and the presence and the being in the body. And again, shifting into that calm nervous system state and out of activation. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, your thoughts. And I am not a fan of toxic positivity or ignoring the weeds or pretending I feel good when I don't, because you have to feel it to heal it. But if after you have spent enough time feeling it, It is time to shift out of that. And that is a conscious choice. What are the thoughts you're choosing? What are the beliefs they're based on? What is the perspective that you're choosing? And what is the story you're telling yourself? You're not a victim. Step out of the victim triangle. Become the sovereign being that you were made to be. Take your power back. It is not up to anybody but you. Nobody is coming to save you. Only you can do this for you. Certainly, I can be here to help you, and I can teach you how to take your power back. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if I've done my job well, you don't need me anymore. And finally, just know that big shifts and changes are here. It's happening. It's happening right now, even though it feels like a trickle. It's big, and more will continue to reveal itself in the coming days and likely over the course of the next 2 weeks until the full moon. You're never alone. I am always here. I literally list my calendar below where you can sign up for free time to talk if you need help. I have a community. We have a community where you could come join us and talk to us live once a week. You are never, ever alone. And know, if you're stuck in hermit mode, if you're stuck in isolation, that is a trauma response, and that is called dorsal vagal shutdown. And the stages of the vagus vagus nerve process is the healthiest state is connection. Hermiting and isolation perpetually is very unhealthy. It keeps you playing small. It dims your light. You are not shining the way you were made to. You are not here living your purpose the way you were made to. That is not a state that you can live in indefinitely. Literally, the brain will physically die if it's completely isolated for long enough. And what that should tell you is how much we need connection. So don't go through this alone. If you're struggling and you feel like the energy is difficult and you can't find that calm nervous system state, reach out for help, whether it's a local therapist or me or your best friend. Vulnerability is beautiful, and it is the key to your freedom. Connection is thriving. We're not meant to do this alone. And if you are stuck in hermit mode or isolation or really struggling with the fear and the nerves, it is a relational wound. Relationships help you heal. Okay, that feels complete. I love you, my friends. Happy Monday. It is the most beautiful day of the week when you are in your purpose. If you would like help getting into your purpose, let me know. Links below. Otherwise, I will talk to you soon. Namaste.